Welcome to Fanatics Live, where we virtually connect you with your favorite stars and athletes right at home. Tonight, we will be meeting with fans, signing autographs, and engaging in live Q&A. Now, let's welcome our host.
Happy Wednesday evening as we get you ready for another edition of Fanatics Live, where we are all about bringing your favorite athletes and stars to you right at home. Be sure to leave comments and show some love from wherever you are watching for a chance to be featured on the broadcast. Before we get started, I wanted to let you know that tonight's show is brought to you by the Fan Cash Rewards Card by Fanatics. As a Fan Cash Rewards card holder, you receive benefits and perks, including access to unforgettable experiences with athletes just like this. Earn 6% fan cash on every purchase, exclusive deals, offers, and much more. This show is special in that it is our first card holder exclusive event where all guests dialing in have been invited as a perk of having a Fan Cash Rewards card. We are so excited to offer this virtual experience to them and hope it is one that they will always remember. Time now to introduce you to tonight's special guest, hands down, one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, the Hall of Famer, Martin Brodeur. Martin spent 22 seasons in the NHL, 21 of those with the New Jersey Devils, and during that time, he won 3 Stanley Cups. He was a 4-time Vezina Trophy winner, a 10-time NHL All-Star, and he set numerous records in the league among goalies, many of which still stand today. He is still the NHL leader in wins with 691 and the leader in shutouts with 125. And when you think of elite goaltending, you think of this guy right here. Let's welcome in the legend himself, Martin Brodeur. Marty, how are you?
Good. How are you? Nice to see you guys.
Nice to see you too. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. We have fans that are so excited to get to ask you questions. But first, I have a few questions of my own. You ready to get started?
Sure.
Let's do it. Well, like I mentioned, you spent 22 seasons in the league as a player. Now you're keeping busy working in the front office for the New Jersey Devils. What did you learn as a player that helps you now as an executive?
Well, to be patient with your game. I think it's one of those things that you play for a long time and you never realize how much there is outside of just playing the game of hockey. And so obviously when I got into management, you kind of learn a little more what our coaches and our general managers and the support cast have to go through every single day, and you kind of appreciate a little bit more of what the surrounding of your team is all about. But obviously, I played for a long time. I played under one general manager that really helped me out as far as how to build teams and how to react and how to act with some of the players that I have now, and it's been a good ride. There's no doubt.
Yeah, you mentioned playing for a long time, 22 seasons. That's such an accomplishment. You obviously know about longevity, how you stay in the NHL for a long time. We just recently saw Patrick Marleau pass Gordie Howe for most games played. What can you say about Marleau's accomplishment and what you learned as a player about what it takes to have a long, successful career in the NHL?
Well, it's pretty amazing. I think nobody kind of saw it coming. We know Patty. I played with him with Hockey Canada a bunch of times, and was a great competitor, great athlete that kept himself in good shape. But there's a lot more to it. When you play for that long, I think the love of the game has to be there. I think all the sacrifice that you make as a player. Sometimes you don't get rewarded for it, but when you do it the right way, like Patrick Marleau did. You get rewarded with some great milestone, and it was pretty impressive because we always think about Gordie Howe, and now young kids will say about Patty Marleau, so it's going to be impressive.
That's awesome. It was so great to see the genuine emotion for him, too, when he set that new record. We're going to get to some fans who have some questions for you. We're going to kick things off with Carrie from Thief River Falls, Minnesota. He attended his first NHL game at the age of 22. He loves the speed of the game and has great respect for all of the traditions in hockey. And he actually had a chance to touch the Stanley Cup. So let's welcome in Carrie and see what he'd like to find out.
Hi, Marty. How are you doing?
Hey, Carrie, how are you? Real good, thanks.
Oh, I'm doing great. This is a real honor. Thanks for your time.
Awesome. No problem.
So what I wanted to ask you was, what was the best piece of advice you've received in your career?
Actually, when I was young, my father always told me, as a goalie, he goes, you have to be really respectful to your teammates. It's easy to blame people for your lack of success sometimes. Somebody tips the pucks on you or something happens bad, somebody makes a mistake. And you could see sometimes goalies, they raise their hands up or they act a certain way. And my dad goes, well, if you don't want to play against 11 other players on the ice, he goes, make sure you're nice to the people in front of you. So that's one thing, if you ever see some of the highlights of me getting scored on, by mistake from one of my defensemen or whatever, I'm always going to go tap them in the pants or talk to them to say, hey, don't worry about it, we'll get it back. And I think just that kind of built up a great relationship through the years with the players in front of me that I want to make sure they played for me and not against me at times.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Now, I grew up in Minnesota. Hockey's kind of in our blood. I didn't have very good ankles. I wasn't much of a skater myself. But I got into playing the NHL video game on the Sega Genesis and really started to get into it watching your 95 Cup run.
That's awesome.
And I figured you for sure would have some good advice for some of our kids here, because we got a single A club a few years ago. So we got kids coming into town all the time, trying to reach the dream.
Yeah, I think it's. Go ahead. Yeah, everything is all about having fun and putting the effort in. Nothing is free. Obviously, the sport right now is really competitive, but at the end of the day, if you have a lot of fun doing it, the competitive part of the game will happen by itself. But love Minnesota. My three boys went out and played in Shattuck St. Mary's for 4 years. So spent a lot of time in Faribault. Nice town. A little bit out of the way though, but it was good.
Carrie, great question. And yeah, Minnesota, an awesome hockey state. They are certainly passionate about their hockey. Martin is going to autograph a puck for you. What are you going to do with that puck?
I plan to hold on to it for a long time and maybe pass it down to my stepdaughter.
That's awesome. You mentioned you love hockey traditions. Do you have a favorite?
I love the handshake. Just seeing everybody grind it out. Oh my gosh, that's so awesome.
There you go, Carrie.
Thank you so much, Marty.
But that looks great.
Yeah.
All right,
I just
Carrie,
love
thank you so much.
The competition and everybody being able to shake hands at the end.
Absolutely. We appreciate the time.
Thank you so much.
Enjoy it, Carrie.
Thanks, Carrie.
Next, we're going to welcome in David from New York. He loved watching you and Hasek go head-to-head back in the day. Appreciates the level of play that comes with having to win a Stanley Cup, all the hard work that you put in to get there. And he has quite the list of athletes that he has already met, so he is getting the opportunity to add Martin Brodeur to the list. Let's welcome in David.
Hi, Martin. Thanks for joining tonight.
Hey, David. Thank you. When I heard you were from New York, I'm like, well, don't tell me it's a Rangers fan. But when he said Dominic Hasek, I go, he's probably from Buffalo area.
I'm actually from Buffalo. I was at that four overtime game in 1984. 1994.
I'm still tired from that one.
That was one of the greatest moments of my life, and that's why I really appreciated you and told some people you were going to win a lot of cups. So thank you for taking the time for doing this.
That's awesome. No problem.
My question is, what was a bigger moment for you in your career, winning your first Stanley Cup or winning that 552nd game that Patrick Waz, the winningest goalie in the NHL?
I think winning the Stanley Cup, because that's your dream. I played hockey. I played street hockey, thinking I was going to win the Stanley Cup. All my life, I just wanted to play one game in the NHL. So never thought I was going to break anybody's record. I just wanted to be part of this elite group of NHL players. And obviously, when you start having success, you start to be a bit greedy and try to want more and more and more. And it happened to be a great moment for me to surpass Patrick Roy. But I think the game before, when I tied Patrick in Montreal, Patrick was at the game. It was kind of pretty cool to shake his hand. He's a idol of mine when I grew up. I looked up to him a lot, and so for me to be able to be in the same breath as him at the time was pretty cool.
That's great. You have definitely had a successful career. I mean, the 3 Stanley Cups you went on to win, and obviously the gold medals, and I really appreciate you coming out today. I watched some great games here in Buffalo with you and Hasek, and nothing will ever top that game with 4 overtimes. They shut the concession stands down, they put them back up, and I had a paper due. Actually, I was in college. I got home at 3:00 in the morning and had to do a paper, but it was so worth it. It was a great game, 1-0. And
I was watching people falling asleep in the stands. I'm like, that game's not that boring, even though it's 0-0.
No, there was a lot of shots. I think Hasek had 70 saves, and you had 56 or 59 in that game. It was a 1-0 game. It was a great game.
It was something like that. It's funny when people ask me, "What's one of your favorite game you ever played?" I said, you know what? Usually you would think about a win. I lost that game, but it was one of my favorite games. I always gonna remember it. So here's the puck that I signed for you.
Thank you so much. It's going to go in my collection. I do have it actually 8x10 of yours that I acquired over the years, but I'm super happy to get this puck. I appreciate the time. Thank you so much, Marty.
All right, David. No problem.
Thanks,
Hopefully
David.
your Sabres going to turn around too.
Yeah, it's been a struggle this year for Buffalo, but I'm sure things are going to be looking up for them soon. Next, we have Eric from Mount Vernon. He loves the fast pace of the game. It's exciting from start to finish. Eric, I am with you 100% on that. And he had the opportunity, Marty, to witness your first ever career shutout back on October 20th, 1993, that 4-0 victory over the Anaheim Ducks. Let's welcome in Eric from Mount Vernon, New York.
Hey, Marty, it's great to see you.
Hey, Eric, how are you?
Thank you so much for doing this. It's been a thrill, watching you for your whole career. And, I live in the New York area, but I'm not a Ranger fan, I promise. And I even have you here with your Stanley Cup from 2003.
That's pretty cool.
So I was just wondering, I love to play hockey and I love playing goalie, and one of the things that I admired most about your play was your stick handling abilities, especially with a goalie stick, and the way you take a shot at an empty net and score on occasion, because it always looked like you had so much fun. And I just wanted to know what kind of advice you would give to a novice goalie about improving their stick handling techniques.
Ooh, a lot of reps. I think it's funny. My father was a photographer for the Montreal Canadiens, and he came back one night when I was younger, and he saw Ron Extall playing for the Flyers at the Forum, and he said to me, he goes, son, I've seen a third defenseman play out there. Like that goalie shot the puck and moved the puck like crazy. So I got to work the next day, bought some orange puck, and just try to push the puck and just try to build the strength and be able to shoot with your goalie glove, because it's not that easy with a catching glove and a blocker to be able to shoot. But It's all about reps. It's about strength. It's about getting your wrist stronger, your forearm stronger, your upper body stronger, your core. But again, it's all about rep, and you have to have a little bit of hockey sense. So sometimes that's hard to get. But I think if you work hard at it, you could do it. But you always remember, when you shoot a puck, you always want to kind of make the puck go from the heel to the toe of your stick. That's should give you leverage to be able to lift the puck up in the air for making a pass or to clear the puck.
Great. And, again, it looked like you just had so much fun, especially when you scored.
Yeah, it didn't happen too often, so we love that, that's for sure. Love to score more.
All right, well, Marty is going to sign that puck for you, Eric. So, Eric, you mentioned you play a little bit of goalie?
I do, yep.
What made you want to be a goalie versus a forward or a defenseman?
Well, hockey is such a rough sport. If I was going to play it, I wanted to have as much padding and protection as I could possibly get.
I thought the same thing, so you're good.
You guys are both on the same page.
Here's the puck for you, buddy.
Thank you so much. That's awesome.
Eric enjoyed that. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Eric.
Next up, we have Courtney. She is calling in with her cousin, Chris. They are also from New York. A lot of people from New York joining us on this show. But she has been a lifelong Devils fan. So we are all good there. And she said that meeting you is the first thing that she will be able to check off on her bucket list. So that is awesome. Let's welcome in Courtney and Chris.
Hey, what's up?
Hello.
How's it going?
Guys, how are you? Real good.
Awesome. I've been a Devil fan for...
He's the Devil fan. I'm the Islander fan.
My whole life.
No Ranger fans here.
I got into hockey a little bit late. I wish I got in earlier. It would have been nice to try to play, but I've been a Devil fan since before I'm showing my age, before you were on the team. So, It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous. It's all good.
Yeah, this is fun.
The three of us, or the four of us.
It is. It's great. So,
yeah.
If I had to ask one question, I would say, other than yourself, who would you consider to be the greatest goalie to ever play?
Well, like for me, it's probably not fair because always think your idol to be the guy that you look up to be one of the top goalies. So for me, it would be Patrick Roy. But there's so many goalies with different generation. The Jacques Plante, the Terry Sawchuk, the Dominic Hasek, and now you got Vasilevsky, Carrie Price, you got Luongo, Marc-Andre Fleury that just I think just got the 4th all-time wins right now, right? A few hundred wins behind me, but he's still there, so it's pretty impressive. So yeah, and I don't know about any Islander goalies right now, but
settle down.
It's surprising. I'm a Devils fan because most of my family are Islander fans, and one of my
be strong. We're gonna get better soon. Okay, we're trading all of our players to the Islanders to try to get them better.
I have hope for the future. I like. I love Jack Hughes. I love Mackenzie Blackwood. I think we have a solid future ahead of us.
There's potential.
Yeah, we have potential. We'll get there soon enough, hopefully.
So hopefully they could get us a couple Stanley Cups like you did.
Yeah, that'll be great. That's for
Not
sure.
for the Islanders,
Hey, at least for now, you're going to be getting an awesome puck signed by Marty. So that is going to be cool. But speaking of that wins list, that's what's so amazing. Marty obviously holds the record and is right ahead of Patrick Roy, Roberto Luongo, Marc-Andre Fleury in 4th, but he is still over 200 wins away from catching Marty, considering how long that Marc-Andre Fleury has been playing. So it just speaks volumes to that record that Marty still holds today.
Yeah.
Thank you about that.
Amazing.
So here you go, Chris. This is the puck for you. All right.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thank you for doing this for your fans. It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
thanks for being a fan, and good luck to the Islanders.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks so much for joining us, guys. All right. Next up, we're going to wrap things up with Frank from Cliffwood Beach, New Jersey. Finally, we got somebody from Jersey. He was 8 years old when he attended his first hockey game. And not only has he been able to go to games for the Stanley Cup Finals, but he's also been able to go to World Series games. So just championships galore. Let's welcome in Frank.
Hi, Marty. How are you?
Hey, Frank. How are you, bud?
Great. This is amazing. So my question for you, and I know it's hard to pick a favorite, but what's your favorite Stanley Cup team that the run that you made, and why?
Well, my first one obviously is something special, but I really like the one in 2000. I think we had a great team. I think we've been chopping at the bit for a few years before we were able to get back in the Stanley Cup final. We made a lot of different moves, a lot of young players, a lot of rookies like Gomez, John Madden, Colin White, Rafalski. And so for us, the older guys on the team, not that we're way older, but a little more experienced guys, was kind of nice to be able to kind of teach these guys what it took to be a winner. And so you take a lot of pride on dragging people into the fight. And in 2000, it felt like that we brought everybody into the fight. And we just had a small reunion I think 2 years ago, just before COVID hit. And we brought all these guys back for a 20th anniversary. And the stories galore was so much fun. We spent a great weekend in New Jersey all together. And were you good?
At the game, it was great.
Yeah, it was a blast for us to be all together again.
That's awesome. I personally, the next year when you guys tried to repeat and to go you versus Wall head to head, and I tell everybody that's one of the greatest Stanley Cup final series. For me, it's just just watching two amazing goalies go. Even in 2003 too, to have the other goalie get the Conn Smythe over. I'm a homer, but you are the greatest of all time, as far as I'm concerned. I'll argue that forever. It was fun watching your entire career, and I'm glad you're still connected to the team because, if anybody learned from one of the best GMs, we'll get better. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I appreciate that all that support that you have for us, and it looks like it's continuing too. So just bear down with us a little bit. We'll within a few years we should be really competitive here.
Frank, you're going to get an autographed puck now. I'm with you, Frank. I love hockey. I love baseball. There's nothing better than playoff hockey, wouldn't you say? You've been to Stanley Cup finals. You've been to the World Series. Nothing better than playoff hockey, right?
Baseball and hockey are two of the sports that, like, to see them live, like, they're really, really, you know, in this day and age, even with technology, it's still something about being in that, feeling that chill in the air from the ice and just seeing the game move so fast in front of you. It's something about that is I just love it. I really do. And I love taking, like, you know, small kids for the first time. They're amazed at, you know, watching it happen in front of them.
Yeah,
well, Frank,
awesome.
Thank you so much for joining us, and enjoy that puck right there.
This is your puck there.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
Thanks, Frank.
My pleasure. Nice meeting you.
All great questions. All fantastic questions. And now we have some FanChats Rewards card holders who have submitted a few questions through social media, and we are going to kick things off with John.
Hi, Marty. I'm John. I'm from Rancho Palos Verdes, California, and I'm a FanChats Rewards card holder. We all know the Hall of Fame career you had with the New Jersey Devils, the 691 wins, winning 3 Stanley Cups, etc., etc., etc. Just an incredible career. However, what I want to know about are those goals that you scored. So can you tell us about that? Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, I was able to score 3 goals. They never really ask you how you scored them. But the first one was a playoff in the playoffs against Montreal, and it was 4-2, and they pulled the goalie, and their defenseman dropped the puck in their zone. I was able to catch it from behind the net and kind of turn around, kind of step side my net, and I was able to shoot it over everybody's head. I think nobody knew really. I was early in my career. I think 2 or 3 years into my career, nobody knew how hard I could shoot the puck. So I kind of surprised everybody, and it went in to the empty net. And the other ones are just goals that were credited to me. One time I made a save, and Damon Lankow from the Flyers grabbed the puck. So I was the last guy to touch the puck. Like, he grabbed the puck off of a rebound, and it was a delayed penalty, so the goalie went to the bench. And I think Sergei Brilin slashed, it probably would be a penalty right now, but back then there was no penalty, slashed the guy's hand, and Damon just shot the puck in the home net, and I was credited with the goal. And similar occasion happened in Carolina. I made a save, and the guy tried to shoot it back at me. I kind of moved out of the way. It was a delayed penalty, and the puck went all the way back to their zone and went to the net. And so I got credited for 2 goals that didn't really score, but who's asking?
Back then it was just a part of hockey, right? Back then it was just a part
right.
of hockey. I love it. And I think it's so much fun. You see a goalie maybe pick up an assist with a great pass, but it's so rare to see a goalie score a goal. So I love that John asked about that. Next up, we have a question from Jimmy.
Hi, Mr. Brodeur. My name is Jimmy Trey, and I'm from San Jose, California. I am a FanChats Rewards card holder. I'm a huge fan of yours, especially in representing Canada in international play. I'd like to know your take on how the game has evolved over the last few years, and if you were starting your career today, what adjustments you might have to make to be successful. Thank you.
Well, I think the game is so much different than when I played, and I'm glad I played when I played, because it looks pretty demanding on goalies right now. But it's just one of those things. I think the game is a lot faster, a lot quicker. I think the players are more talented. They work on their skill a lot more. And because of the lack of physicality in the game, I think players are allowed to make a lot more moves. They're a lot more free to get to free pucks and stuff. And so obviously, if I had to play right now, it would be something that I would have to work on, is like your control, your rebound control, sealing the ice, obviously being in the top shape as possible as you can, because you can't get away with 10 or 12 or 15 shots a game. Now these games are demanding on goalies, and that's why you don't see goalies playing 70 games, like I did when I played. If you play 55 games, you're a goalie that you're pretty durable now. So a lot different than back in the day, that's for sure. It's a great question.
Yeah, a fantastic question, and I think you hit it. The NHL is built so much more around speed and skill nowadays, and you see teams like the Bruins, like the Islanders, who have 2 goaltenders who actually split a decent amount of games rather than one guy who really carries the load for most of the season. So yeah, that's an excellent question by Jimmy. Thanks to everyone who has posted comments or submitted questions. We really appreciate all of it. We're going to get to a rapid fire round, but first let's hear a quick word from our sponsor.
Introducing the FanCash Rewards Credit Card by Fanatics. Earn 6% FanCash when you shop with your card on Fanatics.com with exclusive cardholder perks and 6-month special financing on purchases of $150 or more. Text now to apply or go to Fanatics.com.
And here it is right here. Tonight's show is brought to you by the FanCash Rewards Card by Fanatics. For more information on all of the exclusive perks and benefits that you get, head over to Fanatics.com, or you can text FAN EVENTS to that number at the bottom of your screen. That's FAN EVENTS to 94323 to apply today. Let's welcome Marty back in. We're going to have some fun with a rapid fire round of questions. I'm going to ask you a question, and I just want you to say the first thing that comes into your mind. You ready?
Sure.
All right, let's go. Favorite cigar? I heard that you're a cigar aficionado.
Padrones.
You love golfing. I know you love hockey, but you like to golf as well. So who would complete your perfect golf foursome?
I don't know, probably I'd love to play golf with Tom Brady, Tiger Woods, and Michael Jordan.
That's a heck of a trio right there. That's a lot of greatness right there in that golf foursome. Current goaltender that you really love watching?
Vasilevsky for Tampa Bay. I think he's on top of his game. He's peaking right now. He had a hell of a run winning the Stanley Cup last year and seems to try to do the same thing this year.
He is unbelievable. Unbelievable. I agree with you. Hands down, best goaltender in the league. Something non-sports related that you get competitive about?
Ooh, I get competitive about everything. And I do at least the sports stuff, so it's a hard question to answer. I'm sorry.
So maybe just everything. Competitive about everything.
Just everything.
We'll just go with everything. Favorite Canadian tradition?
Yeah, I think I haven't been in Canada for a long time, but one thing I miss about it's in the spring, like all the maple syrup places that we have, and then the food that you eat with the ham and syrup and sugar candies and all that. You have to be there to understand what I'm saying, but it's kind of pretty cool stuff. But I miss that a lot.
I love hearing the Canadian national anthem at hockey games too. It's a great national anthem. Most underrated teammate that you played with?
I would say probably David Clarkson. He's a guy that I played for a few years, and he signed a huge contract. So you say, well, he wasn't that underrated, but what he did for our team at the time when we went to the Stanley Cup Finals in 2012, he was really, really effective. Everybody hated him on the ice, and he was good player.
Winter in the United States, where you can at least get to some warm places, or winter in Canada?
Oh, United States for sure. Canada's too hard. I've been too long in the States for that.
I'm a native Floridian, and I went to Edmonton for a hockey game. I barely even walked outside. I was too terrified of the cold weather. Couldn't deal with it. If you hadn't become a goaltender in the National Hockey League, if you hadn't played hockey professionally, what do you think you would be doing right now?
I'm not sure. I think, obviously I put everything into my career when I was young, but something that all my brothers did was fall into my father's footstep is being a sports photographer. I grew up around it when I was young. I went to the spring training. He was working for the Montreal Expos. I was able to get to the Montreal Forum when he was, working for the Montreal Canadiens. So I got some great memories about what my dad did for a living, and I would have probably started with that. And obviously, with technology, everything changes a little bit, and it could have been something different.
Yeah, that's great. I bet those are some great memories. If you were building your perfect pizza, what toppings would you put on it? What are your favorite pizza toppings?
Mostly vegetables. Any kind of vegetable is fine beside black olives. I hate those. And probably sausage before pepperoni, but sausages are good.
I'm with you. I'm not a fan of black olives. So I think we'd be able to share a pizza because we could agree on that. Yeah. There is no greater trophy in all of sports than the Stanley Cup. You had the opportunity to hoist the Stanley Cup 3 times. One word to describe the feeling of lifting the Stanley Cup over your head.
An amazing feeling. Doesn't get better than that.
Amazing. A dream come true, right? It's what you work your entire career for. Unbelievable.
Yes, that's for sure.
Unbelievable. Well, thank you so much for the time, Marty. I love talking about hockey, and to be able to do it with one of the greatest goaltenders of all time, it's such an honor. Great answers to all the questions, to all the fans that submitted questions. Thank you so much. I hope you had a lot of fun, because we certainly did.
That was awesome. Well, thanks for having me, and thanks for everybody to log in and watch the show today.
Thanks again. We'll see you next time. Again, thank you to everyone who watched the show, all of the FanCash Reward card holders that had the opportunity to ask their questions or submit their questions via social media. Learn more about that FanCash Rewards card by heading over to Fanatics.com. Maybe you could even be a part of a show like this. We do want to remind you that we have some great shows that are coming up. We are going to get back at it next week on April 27th. One of the greatest closers in the game of all time, the Sandman himself, Mariano Rivera, was a great Yankee part of that core 4. We're going to be catching up with him on April 27th. He's going to join us to do a meet and greet with fans and sign autographs. And then on April 29th, we're going to keep it in the family of New York-based sports, but we're going to turn our attention over to the NBA. RJ Barrett from the Knicks will be joining us. And again, you can get those questions in. He's going to be signing autographs. It's going to be a lot of fun. To watch previous shows or to find out how you can be a part of our shows, head over to fanatics.com/live. You can watch the shows there and you can get more information. Enjoy the rest of your night. We hope that you enjoyed this edition of Fanatics Live, and we will see you next time.